Hi, this is Andy Norton, and this is a playthrough of Marvel Champions, the living card game. I'm using Peter Parker, i.e. Spider-Man, in the Justice aspect, and I'm playing against Mr. Negative, which is a custom villain scenario that I created. And you might recognize him if you have ever played the Spider-Man PS4 game. He's featured pretty heavily there, along with the Inner Demons gang that he leads. So he really captured my imagination when I saw him in the game, and I wanted him to be in this game. So I wanted to show off his scenario. I want to play this game, I want to win this game, but I really want to show off Mr. Negative and how he plays, in case you might want to check him out. So Mr. Negative, I'll just read his kind of signature ability here. In stage 1, he has one scheme, one attack, and he has this forced interrupt. When Mr. Negative attacks you, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If the discarded card has a star symbol, discard an ally you control. Then take 1 damage or damage equal to that ally's attack, whichever is greater, and Mr. Negative takes 1 damage. And then this is similar on stage 2. He's 2-2 instead of 1-1. He gains steady, which means that he needs to be stunned twice or confused twice in order to actually be stunned or confused. And then his ability is the same, except that it's then take 2 damage or damage equal to that ally's attack, whichever is greater. He still takes 1 damage. So that's how that goes. And then with stage 3, he's a 3-3. He's still steady. He still has that ability. The ability is now 3 damage, and he also has toughness when he comes into play. And his health ramps up from 14 to 16 to 18. So that's Mr. Negative, and then the scheme, really the story of what's going on, is there's this destructive rivalry. So it says, wealthy and widely acclaimed, Martin Lee uses his financial resources to help those in need. But in his other identity, crime lord Mr. Negative, he uses his powers to corrupt anything he touches. And the contents are Mr. Negative, the standard encounter set, and then 1 modular encounter set, which is the recommended one is just running interference, which features Tombstone. That's one of the scenarios from the Green Goblin scenario. And on the other side, it's 10 threat per player, plus 1 threat every turn. It's got 1 threat per player placed on it. A story of 2 men, Martin Lee, benevolent and kind philanthropist, Mr. Negative, ruthless crime lord, and leader of the Inner Demons. The two-faced Lee is escalating his destructive rivalry with Mayor Osborn. So that's kind of a fun story element, is that you're kind of trying to stop Mr. Negative from bringing about this reign of terror in the city, in which Norman Osborn is the mayor, who's kind of, not on best terms with Spider-Man. When revealed, put the Demons Unleashed side scheme into play. Each player resolves its when revealed ability as if they were the first player. So I'll search the deck for that. There are 2 copies of this side scheme. It's called Demons Unleashed, and it says, when revealed, it says, in his quest to humiliate Mayor Osborn, Mr. Negative sends out the Inner Demons to wreak havoc across the city. When revealed, discard cards from the encounter deck until an Inner Demon minion is discarded. Put that minion into play, engaged with the first player. So we're going to set that out here, and that's going to start off with 3 threat, and the main scheme is going to start off with 1 threat. Mr. Negative is going to start off with 14 health, and then we're going to discard cards from the top here until we get to an Inner Demon. So I'm going to discard media coverage, gang up, demon regulars. So this is one of 2 different Inner Demon minions in the set. It's 1/1, 4 health, criminal Inner Demon. It has guard. It says, when defeated, the player who defeated this minion discards a card from their hand. If they cannot, they take 3 damage. So it's a little bit of a tricky thing to have to work around, is what do I do with that? When I defeat them, they're kind of gonna make me suffer a bit. And so do I just take the card loss, or do I kind of work a little bit around that and try to hit them when I don't have any cards in my hand, so I take 3 damage? Like, do I want to take the damage? Do I want to lose a card? Can I make what I want to happen? So there's a little bit of a thing to figure out there. So 3 threat on the main scheme, 1 threat on the main scheme, 3 threat on the side scheme, which has acceleration, and then I will draw my starting hand. So you got Ironheart, Web Shooter, Webbed Up, Under Surveillance, Helicarrier, and Assess the Situation. So normally I discard Webbed Up like out of hand just because it's not the best card with Spider-Man, but he does have Steady in his second stage, which makes it a better card. Still not good enough to keep, so I'm going to discard that, but I'm going to keep the rest of the hand. Yeah, no, I'll discard Helicarrier and draw 2. All right, so I got to clear the area. That's going to be helpful. So I'm going to start off by using Peter Parker's Generate a Mental Resource ability to play Web Shooter, which comes in with 3 web counters. I'll flip to Spider-Man. I'll use one of those web counters, and I'll use an Assess the Situation to play Ironheart. After you play Ironheart from your hand, draw 1 card. Oof, I got a Spider Tracer, which could be super handy to play. I'm gonna hold on to it for now. Ironheart is gonna thwart for 1 off of Demons Unleashed. Puts it down to 2. So now, if I play Clear the Area, I'll remove those 2 threat and I'll draw a card, which would give me enough to play Under Surveillance as well, which could be super handy. But if I didn't do that, I could always instead play Clear the Area, draw a card, play Spider Tracer, and play Assess the Situation to have a bigger hand. I kind of want to do that. I kind of want to just, I don't know. I'm just going to do that. So I'm going to use Under Surveillance to play Clear the Area, remove 2 threat from a scheme. If this removes the last threat on that scheme, draw 1 card. So I'll draw a card, I'm going to backflip. I'm going to spend the backflip to play Spider Tracer on Demon Regulars. I'm going to attack the Demon Regulars, dealing it 2 damage. And then I'm going to use Assess the Situation to increase my hand size by 1. So then I'll be done. I'll draw up 6 instead of 5 because of Assess the Situation. And then I'll ready everyone and then let the villain do his turn. So on his turn, he's going to add 1 threat to the main scheme. And then Mr. Negative is going to attack. And then his Forced Interrupt comes into play first, actually before my Spider Sense. So he's going to flip the top card. It does have a star boost. So this is a Demon Brute who has 0 scheme, 2 attack, unlike the 1/1. Has 5 HP and toughness. When revealed, discard the top 5 cards of your deck. And it also has a boost, which is discard the top 5 cards of your deck. This is not a boost though, it's just this ability, which is discarding it and checking to see whether it has a star, which it does. So unfortunately, since it has a star, it says discard an ally you control, Ironheart, then take 1 damage or damage equal to that ally's attack, whichever is greater, and Mr. Negative takes 1 damage. She has 1 attack, so it's either way, it's one damage. So it deals me 1 damage, then he takes 1 damage. So thematically there, he kind of grabs Ironheart, sucks out negative energy, and blasts me, but it takes something out of him. So that's what just happened. And he's still attacking me. My Spider Sense triggers. I draw a card, which is Black Cat. I am going to let him hit me because I don't know how much he's going to swing for. So 1 plus 2, shoot. That's 3 damage down to 6. And then Demon Regulars hits me for 1 down to 5. And then we've got the Treachery, which is going to be Assault. So he's attacking me again. His ability triggers again. It's another star boost. This is Overdrive. Overdrive is probably my favorite card in the set. He has 2 scheme, 1 attack, 4 HP, criminal, elite. He has patrol, which means I think you can't thwart threat off the main scheme while he's in play. Force interrupt. When Overdrive is defeated, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that card is a treachery, deal Overdrive to the player who defeated him as a face down encounter card. So it's similar to Loki, but instead of just coming right back, he actually dealt to you. So you have like a 1 turn reprieve from him, which could be what you need. You might just be like, well, I'm going to take out Overdrive so I can remove threat from the main scheme, regardless of whether he's going to come back. So it's kind of like he's trying to escape. You might go after him, think you caught him, and instead he's able to still get away with his souped up cars. That's his special powers. He can, I think, turn any vehicle into like a super powered car. He has a boost of reveal this card. But again, this is not a boost ability. It's just checking to see if there's a star card, or a star symbol, which it does have. So he's going to be discarded. He would discard an ally I control. I don't have an ally. I'm going to still take 1 damage because of that ability. and he takes 1 damage. So in that case, thematically, he's kind of grabbing just like a bystander and blasting me. So it's 1 damage, so I'm down to 4. I draw a card because of Spider Sense, drew Endurance. This time I am going to defend just because he could kill me here. So 1 plus 2 more. It's 3. I have 3 defense, so I blocked his attack. And that is it. So that was pretty intense. This is Mr. Negative on standard. He's pretty nasty. So, all right. I think I have a ton of cards though because he attacked me. So I'm going to try and do a lot here. I'm going to do Genius and Energy to play Nick Fury, drawing 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to spend Webbed Up and Enhanced Spider Sense to play Black Cat. She's going to discard the top 2. This is a mental resource, so I take it into my hand. Looks like I have enough to play, yeah. Here's what I'll do. I'll play Skilled Investigator. I'm going to spend Web Shooter to play Endurance, so I'm pumped up to 7. I'm going to spend 1, 2, 3 for Spider-Man, who's going to come in with 4 attack. I'll give him. So 4 attack. And then what's going to happen is Nick Fury is going to attack this demon regular, kills him. When defeated, the player who defeated this minion discards a card from their hand. If they cannot, they take 3 damage. I don't have any cards in my hand, so I take 3 damage, down to 4. Spider Tracer, though, force interrupt when attached minion is defeated, remove 3 threat from a scheme. And then Black Cat and Spider-Man Miles Morales are both going to attack for 1 and 4, so he's down to 7. And then I am done. And hoping that he doesn't somehow break through my ally array here. So, got 5 cards. I got Spider Tracer, Stealth Strike, Strength, another Stealth Strike, and a Crisis Averted. This card's quite good against Mr. Negative because he has these high threat thresholds, but he schemes for a lot. So he schemes for a lot, and there's a lot of threat out there sometimes. But Crisis Averted can really bring that down. So, all right, so back to Mr. Negative. He's going to add 1 threat. He's going to attack. He discards a card off the top. Again, is a star symbol. So he's going to make me lose one of my allies. Oh, I think I'm going to go ahead and lose. You know what? I'm just going to lose Black Cat at this point, which deals me 1 damage. And then he's attacking me still. My Spider Sense triggers. I got a swinging web kick. I'll defend with Nick Fury. He attacks for 1, plus 1. Inverse Machinations. This has a boost ability that says after this activation, give this enemy 1 face down boost card. So it dealt 2 damage, knocked out Nick Fury, but after the activation, it's giving him a boost card, which is actually really scary. So we'll see what happens here. His Treachery is going to be Caught Off Guard. I'm going to go ahead and lose Skilled Investigator since it's 0 cost. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Tempted to lose the Web Shooter, but I'll lose Skilled Investigator. All right, so it's back to me. That was brutal. It was really deadly on his part. So I've got enough though. I could do a swinging web kick and a stealth strike if I wanted to. I think I might do that. So here's what I'm going to do. Here we go. I'm going to attack with Miles and Spider-Man, bringing him down to 3. I'm going to then spend Strength and Spider Tracer to play Stealth Strike, dealing him 4 damage. Since it defeated an enemy, it's going to remove 2 threat from a scheme. So I'm going to remove 2 threat from the main scheme. Defeated stage 1, he comes in at stage 2 with 16 health. He's steady. I'm going to then exhaust Web Shooter and discard a token from it. Stealth Strike, Crisis Averted to do Swinging Web Kick, bring him down to 8. And then I'm going to flip down to Peter Parker. And I'm going to be done. Draw 6. All right. So he's down to 8. I could kill him with 1 good swinging web kick. So let's see what happens here. 1 threat. He's going to scheme. I forgot that he has that packed away. So he's going to scheme for 2 plus 1 plus 1 more and Demon Brute. This is Deceived by Martin Lee. It's an obligation. It says that you cannot attack Mr. Negative. Alter Ego action, exhaust your identity, discard this card. And this card gains Surge in Expert mode. But it's gonna be 2 plus 1 more from the Demon Brute. He's also got to discard top 5 cards of my deck, which is exactly enough to deck me out and deal me an encounter card. So that was a total of 4 that he schemed for. So it's putting it up to 5 on the main scheme. I get dealt another encounter card. So I'm going to deal with 2 cards here and hope that he doesn't scheme again. So first one is, oh, there you go, Criminal Undertaking. When revealed alter ego, Mr. Negative schemes. When revealed hero, this card gains surge. So he's going to scheme for 2 plus 3. Demons Unleashed has 3. That's a total of 5. So he just schemed out on his first scheme. Like I said, he can scheme pretty big. So he schemes out on the first stage, comes in with Reign of Terror. This says, Mayor Osborn has lost virtually all control of the situation. The inner demons are emboldened, and Lee ready for the end game. And it says, as Lee and the inner demons spread terror across the city, total anarchy is near. When revealed, each player searches the encounter deck and discard pile for an inner demon minion and puts into play engaged with them. It's going to have 2 threat here. So I got to decide, do I want an inner demon regular who's going to have guard? I think I want the brute. I'm gonna risk it with the brute. So I'm going to search the deck, take a brute, and put it into play. Engaged with me, comes in with toughness. And then the other encounter card is going to be Deceived by Martin Lee. You cannot attack Mr. Negative, alter ego action, exhaust your identity, discard this card. If I was playing Expert, it also would have surged. But we're playing Standard, so it does not surge. So, okay, back to me. Woof, that was intense. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by playing Aunt May for free, exhausting her to heal myself up to 7. I'm going to then exhaust myself to get rid of Deceived by Martin Lee. I want to read the flavor text on here. Peter, listen, that mask, it could be connected to dangerous people. Mary Jane might want to find a different story. Martin Lee. So that's a direct quote from the PS4 Spider-Man game. All right, and then I think what I'll do is I think I'll start by flipping to Spider-Man. I'm going to spend Avengers Mansion to play Clear the Area, removing 2 threat from the main scheme. Draws me a card since it was the last threat. Nothing too good here. I think I'll discard Quinn Carrier to play Web Shooter. And then I'll use Assess the Situation. And then I'll be done. And draw 5 cards because of Assess the Situation. I got a backflip, which is great. But I'm still really scared of his Forced Interrupt ability. So we'll see. On the main scheme, it accelerates by 2 threat per turn. So 2 threat goes on there. Mr. Negative. It's gonna flip. It's not a star symbol. It's great. It's all tied up. So it's not hitting me. I'm gonna let him hit me, not Miles Morales. So he's swinging for 2 plus 1. This says this attack gains piercing. Give this enemy another boost card. Media coverage is 1 more. So he's attacking for 4. I'm gonna use backflip to dodge out of all of that. And then Demon Brute's gonna attack me. I'm just gonna take 2 damage down to 5. And then I've got my card, which is a Demon Regulus. This is great. I think I'm exactly set up to deal with this. So what I'm gonna do on my turn is I'm going to go ahead and attack with Miles Morales, dealing 2 damage to the Demon Regulars. I'm going to attack the Demon Regulars, defeats him. I have to lose a card from my hand, so I'm gonna lose Webbed Up. Then I'm gonna go ahead and just spend Nick Fury, multitasking, and Honorary Avenger to do a swinging web kick and hit him for 8 damage and knock out Mr. Negative. Boom. So that was Mr. Negative on Standard. I felt good about this deck against him. I felt like the stealth strikes were solid for knocking out these regulars. I'm glad I didn't have to deal with many brutes, though, because the toughness with the 5 HP is pretty nasty against me. Yeah, Clear the Area was solid for a moving threat. And gosh, my swinging web kicks just did a lot of work. And of course, I love assess the situation with Spider-Man. It just allows you to really kind of take, it helps with his tempo of kind of like having like less aggressive turns and then really like putting on the gas and hitting him with a swinging web kick. So I felt good about the deck. Some cards that we didn't see, let's see, I'll just go through here. Got Held Hostage. This is a fun one. It's a side scheme. The inner demons stoop to taking hostages. When revealed, place a persona support your control, or if you cannot, a random card from your hand face up beneath this card. When defeated, return each face-up card here to its owner's hand. So if you put that out there, there'd be 2 threat on it, and then it would take Aunt May in this instance, which is who's pictured as well, because that happens in the comics at one point. Aunt May is actually a big fan of Martin Lee. She helps out with his feast. It's called Feast, like food for the homeless or for the poor program. And she thinks he's an amazing, philanthropist, amazing man. But as Mr. Negative, he takes Aunt May hostage at one point. So that's a really fun side scheme. Negative healing factor can be really cool. It's when revealed in Alter Ego, you are stunned. Mr. Negative heals 3 damage. And then in hero form, it's take 3 damage. Give Mr. Negative a tough status card. So it's like 2 different ways that he can, use his healing factor. And then in the boost ability, it's heal 1 damage from Mr. Negative and give him another boost card. So that's that. Got more demon regulars, more demon brutes. There's 4 of each of them. Negative Blast is super intense. It's it's just an attack in hero form, but he gives it piercing and overkill, which just adds to sort of the ally hate thing going on. Powers of Persuasion is an attachment, attaches to him, and essentially is going to do +1 scheme for the next 3 times that he schemes. Targeted by Demons is another obligation like the Deceived by Martin Lee. This one has to do with the inner demons. Inner demon minions engaged with you get +1 attack and gain quick strike. As an alter ego action, you can spend 2 resources to discard this card. So I like these cards. They're fun. They add a lot of kind of story flavor to it because it's almost like you're getting specifically targeted by the inner demons, or you're deceived. Like Peter Parker himself is deceived by Martin Lee, doesn't think that he's a bad guy. And also they're fun mechanically because in standard they're actually kind of easier cards. They come out, they don't have an immediate thing, they just kind of prompt you to flip to alter ego and deal with them. But in expert they surge, which like this could surge into something that makes it really difficult for you to flip down to alter ego. And similar with targeted by demons, it could surge into an inner demon who now is attacking you with quick strike and for +1 attack. So I like Targeted by Demons, I like Deceived by Martin Lee, and they're some of the cards that actually make the biggest difference on standard to expert for Mr. Negative. Let's see. Negative Sword is pretty much exactly like the Powers of Persuasion, but for attack. It's going to give him +1 attack for the next 3 times he attacks. Let's see. Spreading Fear. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a criminal minion is discarded. Reveal that minion. And then in the boost ability, it says deal 1 damage to each ally you control. So it's sort of like Concussive Blast, how it can deal damage to all your allies. So you want to be careful about defending with an ally. So even if he doesn't kill your ally or discard your ally with his ability, you still have to be cautious about defending with an ally on their last HP, because Spreading Fear could just kill that ally. But also the card itself is cool because it discards cards from the top of the encounter deck until a criminal minion is discarded. So that could be one of the inner demons, or it could be Tombstone, it could be Overdrive, or it could be Spot. Spot is actually, I think, one of Spider-Man's oldest nemesis. I think they said it was like his first nemesis is what I had read. But he's 2/2 for criminal elite. And then Force Interrupt. When Spot is attacked, if this was the first time Spot was attacked this phase, prevent all damage that would be dealt to Spot and deal an equal amount of damage to the attacker. So that can be a real pain. it makes sense to maybe pack some things that can try to deal with him if you can. But sometimes that's harder to do. So Spot is nasty. Workplace bombing is the third side scheme. It says Lee and the Inner Demons bomb workplaces in the dead of night, indifferent to the threat and loss of innocent life, so long as Mayor Osborn suffers. And this is actually can be an easier card, but also plays into a dynamic for Mr. Negative that I like. It says, when revealed, give Mr. Negative a face-down boost card. When defeated, the player who defeated this game draws 1 card. So it's just 2 threat, always, not per player, just always 2 threat. And the player who defeated it draws 1 card. So you're going to be able to deal with it pretty easily itself. And I like that. But it also says, give Mr. Negative a face-down boost card, which just really can be nasty, because then you have to figure out, can I handle if he's attacking me with 2 boost cards? Can I really flip to Alter Ego if he's going to be scheming with 2 boost cards? So I really like how that works. And it works in tandem a bit with a card you saw during the game, which is Inverse Machinations, which is after this activation, give this enemy 1 face-down boost card. So that can just be nasty, because maybe you were expecting that activation wasn't going to be a big problem, but now it's packing on some problems for later. So I think that might be all of the cards. It's a big deck. I think it's 37 cards, something like that. So it's bigger even than, I think Ultron. I'm pretty sure it's bigger than that. But because of his ability, it's discarding through a lot. And because of things like Demon Brute, you're discarding your deck a lot, so you might see more encounter cards. A few of them reveal. You have a boost ability of reveal this card when you get the boost ability. Oh, and a lot of the cards have these. It does something as a boost, and then give this enemy another boost card. So a lot of times you'll kind of go through several cards with the boost abilities. So it doesn't feel strangely huge of a deck in actual play. But yes, that's Mr. Negative. I hope you enjoyed that little playthrough. Expert gets more intense for sure. I would suggest, though, if you want to have a challenging but totally doable and really thematic experience, totally play him on Standard. If you are someone who really enjoys a solid challenge, totally go for him on Expert. He's still doable for most heroes in most aspects, but it's going to take some real solid deck building, some really smart play, and probably a little bit of luck. So I hope that you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed checking out Mr. Negative. Peace.